Yay, we're live. It's 7 o'clock. You guys doing? I gotta get a little bit more light over here. What's up? Yeah. So the question tonight is to mod or not to mod, as in should you modify your 462 valve modular forward motor? So let me know what you guys think when you guys all get here. Right now, I'm just sitting here talking to myself. I do that a lot. But the question is, should you, on the 462 valve modular forward, which they made a ton of, and in all sorts of different vehicles. They made them in trucks and cars and full-size cars and Mustangs and all sorts of stuff. So there's lots and lots and lots of them out there. There were lots of them produced, but should you modify them or should you swap them? Like, for instance, if you've got a Mustang GT with the 2-valve, which I had a 98, and back in the day when I was doing the stuff for Muscle Mustangs and Fast Forwards, I was trying to, I made a self-imposed goal of trying to make 300 horsepower at the tire with a non-PI combination, because the 98 was a non-PI. In 99, they stepped up to the PI version, which had better camshafts, better cylinder heads, better intake manifold, a slight change in compression. So it had, and they changed the piston to get the compression and all that stuff. But it was a better motor and it made more power. The head had a lot going for it, and the non-PI did not. Even though we ported the non-PI head, it was tough to get 300 at the tire with that non-PI combination. In naturally aspirated trim, we put long tube headers and underdrive pulleys and exhaust and everything that we could. We ended up putting cams. I ran the 274 cams, which if you guys take a look at the modular 2-valve video that I just posted tonight, you can see what all of those cams do and see what the inherent trade-offs and kind of why my go-to recommended cam for all the 2-valve guys is that 4.6 is the PI version of the 262 AH cams. They work really well. They kind of offer the best average power production. I put the 274 non-PI cams in mine, and we were just looking for a big peak power number, so I thought that would help. As it turned out, it just kind of hurt the drivability, so the car wasn't too much fun to drive around until after we got rid of all of that nonsense. Because to get 300 at the tire, I had to make my own intake manifold. I had to make my own non-PI intake manifold because there wasn't a lot of options. That was one of the other problems. There were other things available for the PI headed motors, but the non-PI stuff, there just wasn't very much there. So I had to make my own tubular intake manifold, and we ended up getting to over 300. But it was a little bit of a chore. If I would have gone the PI route, that would have been very, very easy. So you live and learn. But then we did what everyone normally does, is we added boost to it. We put a Kenny Bell on it, and then it was a lot of fun. That worked out very well. So let me know what you guys think. I hear a lot of guys in the comments, or see a lot of guys in the comments asking me if I can do this on a 5.4 2-valve. And these cams would work very similar on a 5.4. The nice thing is that it would kind of tame the cams down a little bit. So I think that the losses you get from the bigger cams would be less on a 5.4 liter compared to a 4.6, just because it's a bigger motor. It's kind of like going 302 to a 351 kind of thing. So the 5.4 could definitely take bigger cams. The problem going to a 5.4 is that you still only have a 4.6 2-valve head flow. So you're asking the head to support even more displacement and power potential. So it struggles a little bit. So ported heads definitely are a must for the 5.4 version, especially if you're gonna run cams in it. And then the other problem with the 5.4 stuff is you have limited intake manifold choices for those, which is why I made the manifolds that I made. The manifold that I made for the 4.6 2-valve bolts right onto a 5.4 4-valve because it's the same cylinder head, and my manifold doesn't care because it's in 2 pieces. So it was kind of an easy deal. I got phones ringing in the background. So let's see what you guys have to say about modifying the 4.6 2-valve, or if you would just maybe then rather swap something else in it, maybe something bigger, maybe a 4-valve, maybe a Coyote. Obviously, LS is a natural thing in Mustangs and in a lot of other things as well. See what we got going on here. Okay, let's see what we got going on. Yeah, your 4.6 2-valve made good power. Good. I like the motors. I like them because they were very plentiful. They made a way more of those than they ever did any of the 4-valve Cobra things. So you were much more likely to run across one of those. And then you could, with ported heads and cam and PI stuff, make some pretty decent power. And then with boost, with any of the blower kits, and everybody made them, or a turbo, you could make big power. And there are guys out there, we made 1,000 horsepower with a 2-valve. So if you can get the motor to make over 400, which wasn't too big of a deal, and I was talking 400 flywheel, getting them to make into the 4-digit stuff is not not terribly hard. Rob wants to know if we've done a video comparing the Edelbrock Victor Jr. intake. I have not, but I know we know what the Victor Jr. does because we know what it does on every other combination. And it's a short runner manifold, so it loses power. And I've run lots of short runner manifolds on 4.6 compared to the PI motor, and so it's going to lose power down low and probably gain power up at the top. And under boost, it's going to do, guess what? Exactly the same thing, because boost doesn't change that. 14-to-1 compression, 4.6 on pump gas. That would be interesting, unless the pump maybe is pumping out, 100 octane or 118 or E85 or something. Sacramento's in the house, just up the road. Spark plugs blow out of the head, literally. I've never had that sort of issue with any 4.6. I've run 2 valves and 3 valves and 4 valves, and I've never had any plug problems with any of them. And so maybe we've just been lucky. We've run 4.6 valves to 7,000 without any problem. You just have to have enough spring in it. How does Guru wants to know, how does Hilborn and manual injection match up compared to modern day EFI? It doesn't. If you just substitute the mechanical fuel delivery for electronic fuel delivery and keep the stacks and everything the same, it can make the same power. The problem with mechanical injection is getting it tuned under all of those conditions. Like a lot of times you can get it to go wide open throttle and it works pretty well. It's hard to get it to be optimized in every RPM range, even at wide open throttle, but then it's really hard to get it